right, welcome back, guys. It's another CB Rivals podcast, and this time I'm joined by Korto and Ragnaruk from Odin's Legion. I am CB, TO organizer for CB Rivals, and we are actually on episode 7 today from the season 1. We are also going into round 6 for the CB Rivals tournament. We've only got 2 weeks left, as all divisions will come to a conclusion on July 10th. And it's promising to be a very exciting ending with 2 major matches in the final week for both the Rustic division and the Feudal division. We'll talk more about those matches later. So first of all, Korto, welcome to the podcast once again.
Hello, everybody.
Yep, thank you for joining me again. And Ragnaruk, welcome to you as well, the team captain from Odin's Legion.
Hello guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure, you're welcome. So Ragnaruk will be talking a lot to you about Odin's Legion. You guys are doing really well this season. You guys were struggling last season. I'm very curious about how you improved so much actually, because last season was definitely harder, it seemed like, compared to this season. But you're still in the race for technically first place, but most likely second place. So we can talk about that for sure. And also you, of course, as the player. So we'll go into there just in a little bit. But Korto, how was your weekend casting this time?
I cast only too much.
Mhm.
I cast YAA vs Baguette Muncher, and it was no match. It's previous. It was previous. And I see Odin Legion vs Holy Crusader.
Hmm.
And it was great match, and Odin Legion show a good gameplay.
Yeah, definitely. That match was very interesting. I also watched it, quite a bit of it. And Ragnaruk, were you sweating a bit in that game 1? Because that was very close.
It was a very tough matchup to be fair. Very well played for the Holy Crusaders guys.
Mm-hmm.
We did made some mistakes on defense, on that supply defense between B and C, which made us in a tough spot to defend base. But we kind of had a game plan where to get the heroes involved as much as we can against heroes other than units.
Yeah.
Because obviously of the different rule for this map, and at the end it paid off. So. It was tough for sure, but I think we kept it cool and we were able to get back on our feet.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it. Like you said, at the end of the game, you guys were actually down in units by quite a big amount, but you managed to kill more heroes, and that gave you the edge. So that was definitely an interesting mechanic. We could see it work. I know the Holy Crusaders are really sad about it, to say the least. They do not like those rules right now. Yeah, that's for sure. But
that was exactly the thing that kind of screwed us over last season against Chocolate Paladins.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys have learned from it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's still in the debate if that map will be back next season, if it's still with the same rules, because it is kind of weird to have a different sort of set of rules for a game in the middle of the season. At the same time, it's also interesting to see how teams adapt to it. You clearly have, so good job for you.
Thanks. I like the map a lot. The map is it's a very interesting map. A little different from other maps. It's kind of a shame that we can't play with our rules on it.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, that's true. I really enjoy the map. I know so many people also dislike it, but you have that for every single map. But I really enjoy this map. I think we've had great fights on it for sure. But yeah, all right, we'll talk more about those as well. Ragnaruk, first I'd like to talk more to you and about you actually. So I'm just gonna do the same that we did with the other ones, which is I'll say a few words for you, and you just say anything that comes to your mind. Like the first thing that comes to your mind, you just say it.
All right, sounds good.
All right, are you ready then?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Odin's Legion Season 0.
Tough.
Yeah, tough sounds fair. Yeah, this sounds fair. All right, YAA last round.
Just a quick note. I'm assuming you want me to just say 1 or 2 words.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, just like you did.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
YAA last round.
Looking forward.
Yeah, me too. Favorite weapon class?
At the moment, Pike.
All right, Pike. Are you playing the Pike a lot in the tournament? I haven't noticed actually.
Well, I'm a few seasons ago I was Spear, and then once Pike came to the game, I switched. Obviously, with the meta changing the last couple seasons, I changed to polyaxe more to help out the team
Mm-hmm.
because it was what we needed.
Yeah.
Now I'm back to bike. Yeah.
I see. I see. Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. So tell me about yourself. When did you start the game? How did you get into it? And how did you become the team captain for Odin's?
Yeah, for sure. I started when the pandemic started, actually.
Hmm.
I was bored home, so I was looking for games to play,
Yeah.
like most of us
Yeah.
probably.
Definitely. I can relate to that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I found out the game. I literally just Googled medieval MMOs, whatever. So found out the game, tried it out with a couple friends. Eventually, they stopped playing. They didn't get too attached to it, but I enjoyed it and kept playing it ever since. Um, Then I was able to find a few I'm Portuguese, by the way. I found a few Portuguese in the game that were already playing. They helped me a little bit grow into a
Hmm.
player. And then I was just joining, competitive houses. I started in a Spanish house, then switched to, I think at the time it was Ngangner when they
Hmm.
came to the U1.
Yeah.
I always play U1 even when I started.
Hmm.
Um, and then I switched to the Revolution Alliance, which at the time where rabbits were in alliance with Eden. And then at the end of that season, I think it was season 7, maybe season 8, maybe I can't really be sure. Then I switched to Eden, and I've been there ever since.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. So another Eden boy. Eden has been like sending so many players and team captains to the CB Rivals. It's pretty fun. There's
Yeah,
certainly a strong
we're
community there.
competitive house.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
competitive
you can
house.
say that for sure. Yeah. So you're Portuguese yourself? Is that what I
Yeah,
heard?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, is there a strong Portuguese community in the Conquest Blade? We know there's a big French community, a big Spanish, Turkish,
There
Polish.
is. It is to be bigger, I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure. Especially on U2. I
Hmm.
know a few guys. There's a Portuguese house. Used to be main house Portuguese only. Now they do a mix, I think, of Spanish and Portuguese,
Hmm.
called Lusitanos. I never play with them because, like I said, I always play in U1.
Yeah.
Um, but unfortunately, the Portuguese guys that I do know eventually have playing less or stopped playing.
Hmm.
The Eden actually had quite a few in the main raid, which don't play anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah, hopefully they will come back one day, maybe to play in the tournament. Who knows? That would be really fun.
Yeah.
So then, tell me about Odin's Legion. How did you start that? And we have it listed as EU2 team. Is that even correct now that I listen to you?
It's not.
No, right? Yeah, I'm
No,
gonna
no.
change it right away. But tell me about Odin's Legion. Then.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so I got a little bit of tournament experience, very limited with the minions on CVL.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then once Bird created the original format per se of the league, I was interested. I talked to a few guys of mainly the second rate and bottom half of the main rate of Eden, and we just decided, all right, let's get together, you know, improve, kind of show ourselves, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
uh, get a better spot within the house. So that was a little bit of the backstory to the team. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I'm gonna say it was much harder than I thought it would be.
Mm,
Um, playing, organizing everything, strats, and shot calling in tournaments is much different
yeah,
than in TW.
absolutely is. Yeah.
Um, so it has been a very interesting learning
Mm-hmm.
process.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
but
And I
yeah,
mean, looking at your team, you guys have improved so much. So last season you won, was it 2 games at the end?
yeah, I believe so.
I
Yeah,
know
I
you
believe so.
won against Trike, and I believe you also won against Holy Crusaders, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah. So you won 2 games in that season, finishing sixth and in the group. Yeah, 8-7-6. Yeah. And then this season, you guys started out really strong. You guys were like winning so many games until you faced Kebabs. How did you get there? How did you actually get so much stronger than at least that's
actually,
what it seems. Yeah.
almost at the end of last season,
Hmm.
I was getting a little frustrated because we were winning a lot,
Mm-hmm.
like you mentioned. And then I had a team talk with my guys, and I told them like I really like doing this. I really like playing with you guys, but if we're gonna continue from now on, like we have to, be committed. I don't want to be here just to be here. Uh, Most of the guys dealt with it very well, so I was actually very, very impressed being able to maintain some of those guys that I did want to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
Some left, some I had to replace, just to keep the competitiveness a little better for the team. But we've just been, more committed. Everybody's been more committed. It's just not a me thing, obviously. It's a team thing.
Yeah.
I've been putting a little more work to it, definitely, but also my players as well, for sure.
Yeah, nice. I really like it. I mean, we're seeing so many teams struggling, right, to find wins, and then it does become harder, as you are saying, also to stick together as a team. We've seen a few teams quit as well or disband. So I really like to hear from you that this is one way to fix that and to reshape the team in a way. Um, what are you
Yeah,
looking? Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just going off of what you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very tough when you're when you want to be competitive and you're in a tough situation where you don't win a lot, especially if you have competitive players playing with you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the environment can get a little tricky, but um, it's a tough situation to get out of. Fortunately, most of my players were able to get out of there with me as well, so it was
Mm-hmm.
good.
Yeah, yeah, really good. So, what did you look for then in finding new players? What was important for you to change that team
It,
atmosphere?
Mainly in the beginning, I was looking for players with experience in tournaments
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, it's very different being, for example, being good at T or being good at sieges. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's much different than being good at tournaments. Uh, I've also always used and probably will always use the plebs team as an example
Mm-hmm.
because obviously they're very good players individually. I'm not saying otherwise. They're
Yeah.
very very good, but in my opinion, what makes them very very good as a team is their understanding and the way they work together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most important aspect of a tournament team. So I tried a few different players. Like I said, I was trying to get players with experience on tournaments, players from main raid on Eden because I knew they were good players, so I would test them out
Mm-hmm.
on a team environment. Some clicked, some didn't. So I kept, asking players to if they wanna train with us, see how it goes, and I was able to get a few good ones and improve the team quality and overall the team coordination and environment.
Yeah, sweet, nice, good job. Yeah, yeah. And Corto, anything from you?
Uh, no, what I expect in the future, it's when a lot of new players play on tournament, it's with the time and some player watch a different match, it's modify slowly
Mm-hmm.
the comportment of player in the siege mode and the preparation of the map, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's utopic.
Yeah,
Yep, I agree.
it is a little big for sure. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Um, yeah. So looking ahead, actually, because I think I just want to do this with you right away before we go into the matches from last week. Um, I already talked about your match coming up against YA in the last round. If you win the
Hmm.
next round, of course, assuming that, um, then you guys will at least be fighting for second place, potentially for first place, but for sure for second place. Um, how are you prepping for that, or are you even already thinking about it?
Yeah, definitely thinking of it because, like you mentioned, it's an important game.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of preparation, we just prepare each week for the match, so we don't really prepare ahead in a
Mm-hmm.
way because the maps are different, the strat will be different, and etc.
Yeah.
Um, but definitely looking forward for it. We actually, before the season started, we screamed a lot of the new teams,
Mm-hmm.
including yeah. I believe they literally just started the team like a few days before after when we screamed them.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Out of the new teams, they were definitely the one that caught my eye. Like in terms of quality.
Mm-hmm.
You could see that they still miss that kind of coordination and team environment, but looking back to the games they played so far, they definitely got it together, and they play very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly do. And I know from speaking to their captain Jackler a few weeks ago also that they are scrimming a lot. They are scrimming like 3-4 times a week, right? So that really helps them improving. And they also mentioned how before the season started they were getting defeated by so many other teams and that they're now winning easily against. So they're definitely one of the other teams that is really improving a lot. So yeah, very interesting.
For sure.
It's going to be really interesting to see you guys match up in that last round for sure. All right, but before we go there, let's just talk about last week, because last week has been very interesting. I'll bring up the schedule that we had, and then we can just talk about that as well. We're going to start with the play-in, like we usually do, and then we'll go to the other ones just as well. Have you been following the play-in at all?
Yeah, I look at the scores, and sometimes I go watch the games.
Nice. Any team that stood out to you from looking at it?
A couple teams that we scream a few times.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Paella, Old School. I know a lot of the guys there. Some are Eden, some are Spanish guys that I know. They actually took one of my main players before the season started.
Ouch, yep, that happens.
Yeah. So we've been scrimming against them since they started.
Nice.
And I can see them improving every week, so it's very good.
Yeah, for sure. Well, going right into that, actually, Pelly Old School taking the win against Crypta this week, 2-0. So you must be pretty happy with that. Then.
Yeah, I even PM the team captain after the fight, saying,
nice.
Well done.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that was a good win for them. They also needed that one because they were looking to be struggling at the bottom, but now they are right up at the top suddenly because of their win, because the play-in division is really close from second place. First team is clearly Impact, also taking the win against Wildblood this week, still undefeated, and they're just looking really, really strong in that play-in division. And looking for team against Divinity is 1-1. They are the two teams at the bottom right now. Divinity actually getting their first game win this time ahead, so that's really nice. They are now off that 0 score and looking for team also getting the win. They both won in defense on Dassault Fort. Dassault Fort was the map, of course, last round. With the CBL rules, like you said, which means you can only die 3 times. So that makes it a little bit more interesting compared to the no death limit rule that we normally have, which is also really interesting. But yeah,
you have to adapt a little bit of the strat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The other two teams I was going to say is Impact and Argonauts,
Mm-hmm.
which are the top 2 at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Argonauts didn't play this week. They are the French team, and they are also looking pretty strong most of the time in the games that they play. So do you know those two as well then?
I know I'm very close friends with one of the players in Argonauts. He's also Portuguese.
There we go.
We did scrim a few times before the season started against them. Impact we scrim a few times as well during the season. They're a very good team as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so if we look at the standings right now, then Impact Esports, as you can see, 5 games played at 5 wins, so 15 points out of those 5 games. They will actually finish their season next in this round. They won't be playing in round 7 because there's 7 teams, so this means that every single round there is 1 team not playing. So Impact will be finishing their season in the following round, which means that they could end at 18 points and no one would be able to catch up to them already. Now actually they are already season winners for the play-in division. Followed by Argonauts at 4 games at 6 points. Palia Old School, 3rd place, currently at 5 with 5 points. Same with Wildblood and Crypta, also all with 5 points. But Crypta does have 1 game played more already. So they will not be playing in the following round. So this means that both Palia and Wildblood and Argonauts are able to walk away from Crypta in this round 6. And then looking for team with 2 points and Divinity with 1 point still at the bottom. They might be having a hard time getting back up there. But they would at least need 2 wins to get into like the top of this group right now. So anything you guys would like to add to what we're seeing right here?
No. I think it's going to be an interesting match between Impact and Argonauts, but
yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that might be the closest one for impact. At least what we can expect from this play in division. Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah.
So,
Go ahead, Corto.
yes, I will say the same. I think the most interesting match is Argonaut vs Impact is poor. It will be difficult for Argonaut, but it's a good training, good match, and good luck for them.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely true. I hope Argonauts are able to challenge Impact a little bit. We've heard good things about Argonauts, also because we've been having so many French team captains and players in the podcast, so they are all rooting for Argonauts. But yeah, I hope that we get a really good game from them. That would be nice. Let's just go into the other games as well. Then we got Wild Blood against Looking for Team, and we got Divinity versus Paleo Old School. I'm guessing Paleo Old School should be favored in that matchup, and also Wild Blood should be favored against Looking for Team. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sun City is a tough map, so it can kind of go both ways, but I would say those two teams are favorite. Yep.
Yeah, I think they should be. Corto, what about you?
Yes, the same.
Yeah.
By our school, I think we will win easy normally, and maybe White Blood Looking for Team will be interesting, but I think White Blood are more experienced in team, so they have an advantage.
Yeah, for sure. Looking for Team has been surprising quite a few teams though. Like for example, against Paleo Old School, they actually almost took the match against them. So they definitely have some strong, tough sides, but they're also switching off players quite often. So you never know what kind of team is showing up. That's just the nature of a random team brought together with a lot of players. But yeah, we'll see. If you look at the predictions on the CB Rivals Discord, we can see the same as that we were saying. Actually, Paleo Old School clearly taking it 43 votes to 4. Wild Blood 34 to 12 against Looking for Team, and Impact 46 to 9 against Argonauts. So clearly some favorites there for this round. All right, let's go to the Rustic division then. This is going to be your group.
Our group.
Ragnaruk, yeah. Or our group as well, because I play in Trikey, you're right there. All right, so the matches from last round. We got the results here. So round 5. YAA versus Baguette Munchers, 2-0 win for YAA. Holy Crusaders versus Odin's Legion, 2-0 for Odin's Legion. But very close, like we had said before. We'll talk more about it. Trikey against Chocolate Paladins, 2-0 for Chocolate Paladins. Was a very weird game. You might want to watch it back. Holy Crusaders against Odin Legion was a very good game. Trikey against Chocolate Paladins was a very weird game, which is kind of what we can expect from Trikey probably, since they were destroyed by Kebabs in round 3. Alright, we'll just leave it there. And Kebabs again, Love and Devotion, 2-0 for Kebabs. They did really well once again. That's the thing you should expect probably from the Kebabs team as well. Alright, any match that you would like to talk first about in particular?
No, not really. I didn't really see the entire of the matches. I kind of went over them a little bit in the score, so I can't really say much about them.
Yeah, gotcha. We've talked about your first game against Holy Crusaders. What about the second? Because I didn't catch all of that one.
Yeah, well, I think for almost the entire map, my team was at the top, looking confident. They tried to sell out on us. They didn't try. They did sell out on us.
Exactly,
But we were prepared for it. We defended the supply point very well. We killed, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 11 players on their sellout, and we only died. We only had 2 deaths, if I'm not mistaken, and we killed all their T5 cavalry. So it was actually pretty good. We kept together. We were focused and prepared for it. Then it was a weird strat they had. I must say, I was very intrigued. They had a lot of berserkers to defend B and C. We just kind of composed ourselves after a sellout. Everyone's kind of racing, but try to compose ourselves, keep calm, and we did our strat. We were able to get B and supply in the first push as well, and then we had a lot of time on base, and we just took advantage of the time and eventually got the base. So if I would have to rank, I would say attack was easier than defense, given that defense was a very tough match.
Yeah, I could say so. I think Holy Crusade was definitely a little bit shaken after their loss in the game one. They probably thought they had it in that one. But yeah, still pretty good. And like I said, interesting strategy. We're seeing a lot of Berserkers. They're really strong right now, which is something we could talk about probably for the meta right after these games. Yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about the Berserkers after we've talked about the rounds. Corto, have you watched any of these games? I can't remember.
Yes, but I need to confirm my memory. It's you have in defense. Everyone has the same composition of unit. It's one T5 cavalry and berserker.
Yeah.
That was Holy Crusaders.
Yeah.
It was only Crusader.
Yeah.
Okay. Because as we will see, the 15 berserkers do nothing because the opponents have a pike and they play together. So, and if I remember well, you kill every hero. So there's a problem with the respawn of hero. You win with this in attack.
Yeah. We played very, very close together as a team, and we didn't get caught off guard.
Yeah, that definitely seemed to work. I know at least from my game playing Autarky that we got caught a few too many times in both games, I think. And that definitely cost you in the end. We had like four or five players in our defense, for example, who were 2 deaths, and so we were aware of that, and those players definitely played like more like cautious because we still had like 2 units left, and you don't want to die with 1 unit left, right? So it does make you play very differently if you can only die 3 times. Yeah.
I had one of my most aggressive players had 0 deaths because he was very much more careful this time, which was interesting.
Yep. Did he do well though? Did he still kill a lot of units?
Yeah, he did well.
Yeah.
He did well. He did his job, and he had a lot of assists, so he did.
That's nice. That's interesting. So it also helps some players, I guess, to find a different role or like way to play the game. Maybe might not be the best way for them to play it, but it's at least forcing them to do something differently. Yeah. All right, let's just take a look at the standings then, because I think YA and Kebab's game were both pretty one-sided. Both teams just really strong right now and easily taking the wins against Love and Devotion. We got Munchers who are also at the bottom right now still. They've only tied against each other for 1 point, so they're 7th and 8th right now. Triarchy in 6th place with 3 points. They've had 1 win against Baguette Munchers. They'll be hoping to get another win somewhere over the next 2 weeks. And then we got 5th place and 4th place, Chocolate Paladins and Holy Crusaders. The NA rivalry still continues after they tied each other last week in round 4. They're still at 7 points, looking to make it to the 3rd place, but they would need 2 wins, and they would also need Odin's Legion to lose twice, so very unlikely to happen. At least if you got anything to say about it, I would say it's very unlikely. And then you've got Odin's Legion, 3rd place, 12 points. Kebabs and YA tied for 1st place at 13 points. They've only tied against each other, where Odin's Legion have lost against Kebabs. Kebabs will be playing this weekend against Baguette Munchers, so that should be an easy win for them. We got YAA playing against Chocolate Paladins, which is a very interesting match because Chocolate Paladins are on their way back up. They were very confident ahead of the season, saying that they would probably be S tier and make it 1st or 2nd, if not for Kebabs. So that match will be one that you're probably also looking forward to, Odin's, with Odin's, I guess.
Yeah, it will be a very interesting match. It was very interesting when I saw Ya against Kebabs. They did very well. Also, Chocolate Paladins being one of the other tougher teams on our division, it would be interesting seeing them match up against each other.
Yeah, definitely. I hope you get something to pick away, of course. So this round will be played on Sun City. The last round will be played on Harbor City. So I guess it's hard to say, like, you could really learn from the teams by looking at them on a different map, but there's still definitely some things you can learn about the team, of course, by watching them play against any good opponent, at least.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right, so then one match that I'm pretty excited about: Odin's Legion versus Triarchy. We will be playing against each other this Sunday.
Yep.
So let's see if we can fight each other. You should be the clear favorites there, but who knows? We might be surprising you somewhere. So that will be.
I hope not.
Yeah, I do hope so. We'll at least try to make it fun, right? So we'll see how that one goes. But you definitely want to win it to stay in the race for second place or first place. And then Love and Devotion against Holy Crusaders. The Holy Crusaders, like we said, competing with Chocolate Paladins for the fourth place. So definitely want to win as well against Love and Devotion. On paper they should, but let's see if they actually manage to do it. As they've actually been impressing me from the start. They've been winning against any of the teams that you would expect were going to be with them at the bottom, and they've only been losing against the top teams in this division.
Yeah, they're a team that actually also caught my eye as well. I don't know if they had a lot of changes on the roster. I don't think so.
No, not really.
But they've been doing very well this season.
Yeah, definitely. So they've not been changed that much as far as I could tell. In terms of players, but I do know that since last season, at the end of last season, they started scrimming way a little bit more, and they've also been getting training from other team captains. So like the Pond Guard guys, also the Chocolate Paladins, maybe helping them out a little bit. So there's definitely been some changes for them in terms of how they prep and scrim and organize the team. Yeah. So that's really helping them out. Yeah. So that's really good. All right, then let's go to the Feudal division. Right there, we've got Rose against Surfslayer, 2-0 win for Surfslayer, no beaches against Pond Guard, 1-1. Pond Guard actually taking a game off no beaches, and they'll be really sad about it, and you learn why once we take a look at the standings. We got Slap Blockers versus Plebs, 2-0 win for Plebs, Slavs versus Blamelias, 2-0 win for Blamelias. This match was played on Saturday, and you probably want to rewatch at least the game one, where Slavs were attacking. Because Blamelia sell it out, and that was very interesting. We could see a strategy there that we're starting to see more and more during the Sunday as well, where Blamelia sell it out, like so many teams did actually on this map. But Blamelias made sure that only the left tower would reach the wall, and that actually allowed them to defend on the walls, and we could see how hard it was for so many teams to actually take the A point if only one tower landed. Pond Guard actually did the same thing as well against no beaches in their defense. But once no beaches, for example, landed the second tower, Pond Guard simply retreated. So this is definitely something, and I'm curious to hear from you, Ragnaruk, as well. This is definitely something that teams are like learning, I guess, through playing and scrimming, that you can actually defend the A point on a wall as long as there's only one tower in, and you have multiple ways of approach on the point. What are your ideas about this phenomenon that we're seeing?
I agree. We actually we defended the towers. I think it was Kurak against Chocolate Paladins.
Yeah,
I guess
that's true.
also depends on the map. But if you are able to get the tower, only one tower up, then I think it's doable. Because you only have to focus on one point, whereas the enemy also has to get through the exact same point, so it's kind of like a choke point. If there's two, I mean, you could still do it, but you have to be very, very organized. Also, depending on the map, there are maps that are easier to do, in my opinion. Some are harder. But if there's only one tower up, I think it's doable.
Yeah, definitely seems like it. And actually, the game that you mentioned, the Chocolate Paladins, I was very impressed by that. I think that was the only match on Kurokast that we saw where A and B were defended. So that was very impressive from you guys, actually pulling that off.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, well done. All right. Any of these matches that you guys have seen or that you would like to comment on?
I saw the Pond Guard against No Beaches.
I'm glad you did. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I kind of gave Ghost X a little slack because he didn't won, but it was an interesting map. It was good to see Pond Guard playing kind of at the same level they were last season, because I think they've been one of the teams that have been a little down this season, obviously because they probably lost their main player as well, and I think Maximus, which I believe it's their second main player in the beginning, wasn't really playing. I don't think it came like halfway. So it's good to see them playing well again. I was rooting for no beaches, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I also saw the Blame Alliance against Slavs on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I really like the strat of Blame Alliance defense.
Mhm.
It was a sellout, but it was a mixed sellout, if you
Yep.
want to call it that.
Yeah, exactly. It was very
Uh,
defensive sally out in a way, right? Yeah.
yeah, so it was interesting. They're a very good team. We scrimmed them a few times as well. And they have some of my ex-players as well. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. This is something I'm actually really excited about. I hope that I can keep track of the transfers that will be going off during before the next season, because there's always some spicy ones going on. Even now during the season, there are some team transfers going on, and
yeah,
some are very interesting. Yep.
yeah. I think that will always happen. I think. But yeah, this season has been a few interesting ones.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We'll have to see if we can keep some kind of list on it in the future. Yeah. All right, Corto, anything from you about the games that you watch, maybe?
No, I don't see the match of this pool,
I see, I see.
so
Yeah.
I can talk.
How do you feel about No Beaches, the French team losing their game against Pondgard?
Oh, 1-1, it's okay because I don't know the strategy they use, but if you make a good silly out or not, if you choose this strategy or this strategy, 1-1, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, true. On paper, it's fine. But if we look at the standings, it actually makes a big difference. Plebs, of course, still undefeated with 5 wins, 15 points. They're pretty strong on their way to another championship win. That will be their third win in a row after core tournament, Sea Rival Season 0, and then also this season. Actually, fourth, right? They also won CBL. Or did Surf Slayers? No, I don't remember. But second, Surf Slayer, 4 wins with 13 points and 1 tie against No Beaches. They will be the only team to fight them off in the last round. Surf Slayer versus Plebs, that is going to be very, very hyped matchup for sure. It will be the biggest match of the season if everything goes according to plan in this next round. And I can promise you already that we'll be having something very hype to get you even more excited about it next week. Third place, Blame Elias with 9 points, and they could have been ahead. That is No Beaches if they had won against Pondgard, because they are now sitting at 4th place with 8 points, just 1 point behind Blame Elias. And they will be playing against each other in the next round. So that match will be very important for that 3rd place going into the last 2 weeks. Then we have Pondgard sitting at 5th place with 4 points. Also 5th place is Slavs with 4 points. Rose at 7th place with 2 points, tying twice. And Slop Blockers tying once with 1 point at the last place currently. What do you think about the standings, guys?
I think this last 2 rounds are going to be very interesting, especially the next round. I think is Blame Alliance against No Bitches, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be definitely the match of the week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a very interesting match. Obviously, whoever wins will most likely secure that 3rd place. So looking forward to see that one for sure.
Yep, absolutely true. What about you, Gorta?
Yes, it was the most important match of the week, and for the both team, it's the fight for the 3rd place, so it's important.
Yep. Yeah, that's funny how we get, in a way, we get a 3rd place final and a 1st place final. You could say 3rd place final will be Blame Elias against No Beaches in the 6th round, and then in the 7th round we will have Surf Slayer versus Plebs fighting for 1st place, assuming of course that Plebs is going to win against Rose in the 6th round, and Surf Slayer is going to win against Slavs in the 6th round, as we also have Pondgard facing off against Slop Blockers. So those 3 matches should be clearly favored towards the 3 teams that are standing at the bottom, because the other 3 teams are all 6, 7, and 8 in the last 3 places right now. So we'll see how that one goes, and then the last round, like we said, we'll talk more about it next week, but that is going to be very exciting to see where everything is going to end up. So more about it in the next week, I guess. All right, talking about this weekend, Ragnaruk, what do you feel about Sun City, and also actually about the Berserkers being so strong right now?
It's a very interesting map. Very
Mm-hmm.
interesting map. Very open, which allows to a lot of different strats. Uh, I can't really say there's a good one or a bad one. Every
Mm-hmm.
strat can have their good points or and bad points. So it will be interesting in that aspect. And in terms of berserkers, our developers seem to love to, when they change a unit to make it super OP, but in a tournament sense, they're important for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also I don't think it's good to overvalue them in a tournament team sense because as you could see this weekend, if overvalue them against let's call it a more normal approach of a team comp, unit comp, then the berserkers won't be able to do much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you there. Corto, what about
If
you? You always have a strong opinion about meta and units?
but I will say the same. Say if you play only one unit, you do nothing. You need to have a diversity and need
Mm-hmm.
to use a different unit, and it's the same for the hero. You need diversity. And
Yeah.
about the map, I think we will see a lot of selling out.
Yeah, that is kind of
So much
expected,
for
isn't it?
NA.
Yeah. Yeah,
NA
so
like selling out, and I think we will see a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely true. Yeah.
I believe a lot of the teams sell out this map last
Mm-hmm.
season.
Yeah, they did. Even plebs, I think, did it because they didn't feel like they weren't confident in defending the map just inside a city, which is normally not something that they do. But yeah, um, so what makes this map interesting according to you guys? For sure, it's a two gates. Of course, you have one at the B, one at the A gate, so that makes it really easy to sell out for sure. And there's also a lot of space outside. What else is interesting about this map then?
It's also very interesting because it's a very open city.
Hmm.
You don't have a lot of cities in this game like that, especially on the tournament rotation,
Hmm.
which allows, like I said, very different strats. It's also a city that it's it's very good for Cav, just because it's super open. The streets are wide, points are open, other than A and B, obviously, because they're in the walls. But it's an interesting map. Um, I think a tough map, but interesting map.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like it's easier to defend or to attack on this map then?
I think depends how well a team sells out.
Hmm. Yeah, that might be the deciding factor in the end. Yeah, maybe. It
Yeah,
will be interesting to see if all teams will sell out. Yeah, I wonder.
I think inside of the city, it would be tougher
Yeah,
for defenders.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the best is to defend the gate
Hmm.
and to fight inside the city, but it's easy to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so one thing that will, of course, have a big influence is what the bans are going to be. We've been seeing less and less Falconetti bans, actually, which means that some teams might decide to try and kill some towers and see if they could defend the walls, which is a possibility. A bit harder, maybe, because there's also the B point, but it is a possibility, right? With Javelins and Falcos, you can destroy quite a lot of towers. Um, and then, of course, the strategy that we saw last season was a lot of teams who are defending, like you said, Corto, the gates. That seemed to work really well for quite a few teams because you still have the supply inside the city that you can easily hold. And then it's very hard for teams sometimes to just get down off the stairs. But once you're inside the city, it does feel like it's attack favored because there's so many avenues you can take to flank the defenders. Yeah, so we'll
Yep,
see.
I agree.
Yeah, we'll see if what happens. Something that is interesting is that on some maps that we played this season, we saw very different strategies compared to last season. So I'm actually looking forward to finding out if some teams have come up with some new innovation as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the more you play the game, the more you scream on
Hmm.
this on the maps. The more understanding of what maybe be better for the team.
Yeah.
So I think that's why a lot of teams may be changing their strats a little
Hmm.
bit.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also changing, of course, with the meta, right? Depending on what units are in
Yeah, of
favor,
course.
you also
Yeah,
get
yeah.
different strategies as well. Talking about new units, we've seen the Huskarls a couple of times in the tournament, but not quite a lot yet. Of course, they're pretty new as well. Not so many people have played them, I guess, or tested them out. From playing with them, I feel like they can be really strong, but they need a lot of time to set up with their song. Is it? I mean, you're Odin's Legion, so you have to try it out at least. Is it something you're considering?
We've tested them out a couple times, even on this last map. It is like you said, it's a new unit, and not a lot of players have much experience with them. I don't even have them unlocked, for example.
Yeah.
But I do understand that it's a very a unit that you need to micromanage a lot, so it's not easy to incorporate on a tournament-based scenario. But I think it can be useful. But it's, like I said, it's very micromanage based, so depends on the player, on the team, on the strat. So yeah.
I have a question for you. So you have a team. You are a team to use one house guard. Do you try to use this just to improve the Berserk?
Not only, but in a way, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because I think the one problem with this unit is, like you say, they need a lot of time before to go fight, and it's one problem is well, maybe one solution. It's when you have the third stage of power, the problem is decrease immediately. And maybe if you can stay at maybe 5 seconds and at the maximum, so you can go to the melee and fight and start the fight.
Yeah, that might be something that the developers might change. Like you said, they do go down quite fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, they might be changing that.
Yeah, who knows? I wonder if they will. At the same time, what I feel also, but having played the unit as well, is that it can be hard to set up the unit in sieges or even in ranked, because it's a bit more chaotic in your regular sieges. But I feel like the unit might actually do better in tournaments, because then you know that you can coordinate with your team when you want to go in, especially on the attack, because you can time your attack quite well, especially on certain maps where there's like a clear choke point and you know when you're going in. So I think it might work better there, and then you could also like bring more berserkers or Sons of Fenrir, who are also really good at killing heroes. We've seen that happen as well. And maybe like shield maintenance have gotten a buff as well, debatable I guess, but I know some players have figured out a way to make them work, the shield maintenance that is. So maybe if teams have figured out how to use them good as well, and then we might see some maybe.
Only Viking unit comp.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, imagine. I would actually be in favor of seeing at least one match with only Viking units. Yeah.
It would be interesting.
And any team willing to try that out in a tournament is going to get an invite for the podcast. I can guarantee you that already. All right. Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Anything else you guys would like to talk about before we finish it up?
No, not really, to be honest.
All right. Korto?
I think we talk about the unit, we talk about the map, so it's okay.
Yeah.
We make the town.
Yeah. We did everything we wanted to do, I guess. Yeah, so that's all good. All right. Then any closing words from you, Ragnaruk, before we close it down?
No, just thanks for having me over. Always a pleasure. Also appreciate the work you guys have been doing with organizing. I know it probably takes a lot of time. If I think organizing a team and stuff takes a lot of time, I'm sure a tournament takes more. So appreciate you guys for that. And anything I can help, I'll try and do my best.
Yeah, thank you. Also, thank you for all the feedback you've been given. You've been DMing me regularly, and I appreciate all the things you're doing as well. And great job on the team. I really love seeing you guys play. So continue to do that, and I'll be cheering at least a little bit for you guys in the last round, but also for YA, of course. I mean, I gotta gotta
Yeah, of course.
cheer for both teams. Yeah.
Looking forward for that game.
Yeah.
First, I need to beat Targi first.
Yeah, exactly. Don't miss out on that win because you're gonna need it. Yeah. All right. We'll be seeing each other on Sunday at the very least. Thank you for joining the podcast. Corto, last words from you.
Thank you everyone, and yes, to make some content to make some content around the event like this is the best way to help the event, and yes, it's good. Thank you. Thanks to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And good that you mentioned it. Ragnaruk, you've been making amazing videos about Odin's Legion's games. They're really fun. So if you guys want to check out Ragnaruk's YouTube channel, go there. It's some pretty good content. I love it. So continue that.
Thanks, man.
It's been really fun.
Thanks.
Yeah, so aside from that, if you want to enjoy more CB Rivals content, make sure to join for Sunday. We will be back with the podcast next week just as well. And we will also probably, most likely, be presenting you a very cool video about the final round. At least that's what we're aiming for. So tune in next week once again. Have fun in your sieges and your games. Happy battling, and see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.